With the NFL season starting up this week, I figured it's about time I do my annual season predictions video and get about 97% of the things wrong, but the 3% that I get right, I'm going to hold on to for dear life. Keep in mind, I'm an idiot, and if I choose your team to go 5-12 when they go 12-5, it's because, I have no idea what's going on, except I kind of do. I don't have anything against most of your teams, though, so if I say your team's going to do bad, don't take it personally. I'm just a moron doing predictions on here. Unless you're a Vikings or Bears fans, I hope your teams both go 0-17. Even though that's impossible, I hope it happens. All right, let's jump into the predictions now. Starting in the AFC North, I've got the Cleveland Browns winning the division at a 12-5 record. I really like what they did last year. They did better than I thought they were going to do, and I think they're going to do even better this year. Baker, for the first time in his career, has the same, play caller for back-to-back seasons. They have one of the best running back duos in the league. They got three really good receivers in OBJ, if he can stay healthy, Jarvis Landry, and Peoples-Jones. They got two really good tight ends in Austin Hooper and in David Njoku. They have a really good offensive line, and their defense is really good too. The Browns are honestly like a really complete team, and I think they're going to do good this year. Behind them, I have the Baltimore Ravens at 10-7, just barely missing out on the playoffs because the AFC is stacked. I mean, last year the Dolphins went 10-6 and didn't even make it. Ravens going 10-7. Man, that's still screwing with me up with that extra game with the records, but I guess we'll just have to get used to it. So yeah, Baltimore barely missing out on the postseason. I didn't want to have them miss out, but that's just kind of how the cards fell. I think they're a good team. I very well think they could make the playoffs, but just in my little predictions here, I don't have them making it. Behind them, you have the Pittsburgh Steelers. I have them going 7-10. They have a really good defense. They have some good playmakers on offense. Najee Harris could be a pretty good running back. I don't believe in Big Ben, though, and I don't believe in Dwayne Haskins or whoever the heck they also have on their depth chart at quarterback. I don't think Big Ben's going to come back bigger and better than ever or whatever. I think, this is probably going to be his last year. And Pittsburgh is going to have a losing record for the first time in the Mike Tomlin era. And then finally, I got the Cincinnati Bengals at 5-12. I want them to be better than that. I really like Joe Burrow. I want him to be good. It doesn't sound like he's at 100% from his torn ACL. Jamar Chase has been struggling with drops, and I feel like there's just not a ton going for him right now. And Zach Taylor, I don't think, is a very good head coach. And until, they get a new coach, I don't think Cincinnati's going to do a whole lot. And the way Cincinnati, has coaches and whatnot, Zach Taylor will probably be there for about 10 more seasons. Down to the South now, I got Tennessee taking this division at 11-6. They don't have a ton on defense still. I mean, they got rid of Malcolm Butler, who might be retiring anyway. I remember they got Bud Dupree and whatnot, though. So I guess their defense got a tad better, but still nothing too spectacular. But on offense, hoo-wee, that thing is stacked. Obviously, you got Tannehill at quarterback. You have Derrick Henry at running back, although back-to-back years where he got a lot of touches, that normally takes a lot of wear and tear on most running backs, so he could fall off this year. But the great running backs like Adrian Peterson and whatnot, those guys, they're able to take the carries and just keep moving. So Derrick Henry might be kind of like that, a Hall of Famer type of guy who just doesn't matter how many carries you give him, he will be productive with the football. And, of course, A.J. Brown and Julio Jones for Tannehill to throw to. That offense is going to be dangerous. Right behind them with the exact same record, 11-6, I've got the Indianapolis Colts. And a big part of that is I really believe in Carson Wentz. He had a decent rookie year, a really good year in 2017. He put the team on his back in 2018 and especially in 2019. And then he had one bad season. And I think a lot of people are down on him because of that bad season, which is fair. He was one of the worst, if not the worst, starting quarterbacks in the NFL last year. But I think this is the change of scenery that he needs. He's got a lot better weapons. He's got a good defense to help him out too. And I think he's going to do good this year. I think he's going to, as long as he can stay healthy, I think he'll do well for Indianapolis. Jonathan Taylor's a great running back. He's got, T.Y. Hilton, although I think he's going to be out for at least the beginning of the season. But I have the Colts making a wild card spot at number 5. Then we got Jacksonville at 5-12, which, that's an upgrade from 1-15. Of course, they got Trevor Lawrence. They lost Travis Etienne for the season, which is unfortunate. I don't know if I believe in Urban Meyer. I don't really know. And this team all around just isn't spectacular, but they're definitely better than they were before, and they are going to get up 5 wins. And then finally in the South, with the first overall pick, the Texans going 1-16. Their only win coming against Jacksonville late in the season. The only thing keeping them from being the first ever 0-17 team. But yeah, with the Deshaun Watson stuff, Tyrod Taylor's going to be starting, and this team is just a mess. They're full of starters who wouldn't even make the practice squads of other teams. So not looking good in Houston. I think they have a problem. All right, next up we have the Buffalo Bills in the East, going 13-4. Josh Allen, he played spectacular last season. He got like 4 MVP votes, probably wins the MVP if Aaron Rodgers doesn't ball out. And I think he'll have a similar season, maybe a slight step back, because seasons like that are tough to replicate, especially in back-to-back years. But still, I think Josh Allen is the real deal now, and they got a really good team there in Buffalo. He's got good receivers, of course, and he's got a good defense. They're all around like a pretty solid team, and they have them getting the 2 seed in the AFC. And then behind them, I got the Miami Dolphins snagging that wild card number 7 spot with a 10-7 record. I think Tua will be better than he was last year. Of course, he was a rookie, although it feels like he's been in the league for 5 years and just has never been good the way people seem to talk about him. Let's give him another chance here, at least one more season. I would say at least 3 more seasons, unless you want to give him the Josh Rosen treatment. But I think that Tua's going to be, at the very least, solid for Miami this year, and he's got a good team around him. Dolphins going 10-7. Then at 8-9, third in the division, the New England Patriots, now led by McCorkle, Mac Jones, with Cam Newton being released last week. I think they'll be okay. He'll probably have some struggles early on, as most rookie quarterbacks do, but he's got a solid team around him. The Patriots have better weapons than they did last year, because they basically didn't have any weapons last year. They got Jonnu Smith. They overpaid for him, kind of, I guess. I don't know, but they got Hunter Henry also. If he can stay healthy, he's really good. Nelson Aguilar's a solid receiver, and I just really like what New England's doing and whatnot. Of course, Bill Belichick, he got the greatest coach ever coaching Mac Jones. So I don't think they're going to be awful, but they're not making the playoffs. And then finally, the New York Jets, 5-12. Robert Saleh will make this team watchable. Zach Wilson, he looked good in the preseason. Granted, it's just preseason, and he's a rookie too, so my expectations aren't super high for his first season, but I do have the Jets being better this year, and possibly, if they take the steps in the right direction, a playoff team next season. But I don't see them making the postseason this year, especially with this loaded AFC. And finally in the West, surprise, surprise, it's the Kansas City Chiefs, going 14-3 and nabbing that number 1 seed yet again. They just seem to get better. They got Orlando Brown. They did lose Sammy Watkins. I feel like that's the biggest thing they lost on their team, though, unless I'm blanking on somebody. I mean, as long as they have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and all these players, they're going to be Super Bowl contenders and on the top of their division. But challenging them for the division, at least for a little bit throughout the season, I got the LA Chargers going 11-6 and getting that last wild card spot there, number 6 seed actually. And, Justin Herbert, he obviously balled out, had the best rookie season for a quarterback ever. And, they stayed healthy throughout the preseason. They got Austin Eckler. They got Keenan Allen. Derwin James is healthy for the first time in a million years. They got Joey Bosa. This team is pretty stacked. They got a lot of stars. And I think if they can make the most out of them, they could definitely see themselves playing relevant January football. Then we got the Las Vegas Raiders with an 8-9 record, kind of what they've been doing for the last few years now with John Gruden. They got a good offense. Derek Carr's a good quarterback with good weapons, especially if Henry Ruggs can maybe get it together and be that number 1 receiver they want him to be with those burners of his. But their defense is still the same. They got Unique Ngakoue there now. I think that was their biggest addition. The Raiders are the Raiders, and they're going to be about 500. And then finally, I got the Denver Broncos at 7-10. Even though they got Teddy Two Gloves at quarterback, he's kind of just a game manager. He won't really lose you any games, but he won't win you any games either. So Denver, they're very similar to Pittsburgh with a really good defense. Not a spectacular offense, though, specifically at quarterback, although honestly, I think I might take Big Ben over Teddy Bridgewater at this point. I don't know. Depends how hard I think he falls off this season. But yes, Denver finishing last with a 7-10 record. So now jumping over to the NFC, we've got my favorite team, the Green Bay Packers. They went 13-3 back-to-back seasons. That can't happen this year, so might as well have them go 13-4, getting the 3 seed in the NFC. You had all that drama in the offseason with Aaron Rodgers, which, you know, as Packers fans, we're not used to drama like that. So that was a wild ride, but ultimately he is back. And I think, you know, it looks like it's going to be his last season there. Hopefully I'll be making a trip to Lambeau sometime this fall to see him play live. But until then, you know, let's just hope that they do well. And I think they will be doing good. I mean, they got some really nice running backs. I thought Aaron Jones was going to leave. He didn't. So, you know, we got a solid backup there in A.J. Dillon. Obviously, some great weapons to throw to with, obviously, Devontae Adams. Robert Tunyon's a good tight end. And got some solid receivers there as well. Outside of Adams, of course, you got, well, EQ got cut. MVS, if he can, you know, catch consistently, is really good. And you got the Lizard Man himself making catches out there. Funches did get cut, though. And the defense is good, and I think we'll get better. I mean, Mike Pettine's defense wasn't great, so, you know, it feels like we can only get better from there. Minnesota, they're second, and they're going to go not 0-17. They're going to go 8-9. They're a solid team. Kirk Cousins is a solid quarterback on a solid team. That's about it, though. No postseason for them. Chicago going 7-10 with Andy Dalton. I have him starting the first 3 games of the season, and then it's going to be Justin Fields' time. It's going to be up and down. He's a rookie, so I think the Bears will be a solid team. But the first losing season for Matt Nagy, going 7-10. And then finally, we have the Detroit Lions. I like some of the things they're doing there. Dan Campbell seems like he could be a solid head coach. He's a funny guy. At least they can get some kneecaps and all that good stuff. But Jared Goff, when he doesn't have Sean McVay in his ear, I don't think he's going to be great. Also, he doesn't have that good of talent around him. I have the Lions going 2-15. In the South, we have the defending Super Bowl champions, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I have them going 13-4, same record as the Packers, and nabbing that number 2 seed there. Obviously, they got all their guys back from the last 2 years, which is unheard of. Or from last season, they got all 22 guys back though. All the starters are back, which is just unheard of in the Super Bowl era, and they got better. And I don't think Tom Brady's going to fall off a cliff. I've learned to stop predicting stuff like that because it just never happens. I'll see it when I believe it. I'll believe it when I see it. Whatever. Next up, we have the New Orleans Saints at 10-7. They lost a lot of players either to suspensions. Drew Brees retired. The Saints are definitely not going to be as good as they were. But I am a huge believer in Jameis Winston. The man threw for 5,000 yards blind. He got LASIK eye surgery. So watch him throw for 6,000 yards now and, 60 touchdowns. Maybe not that much, but I honestly think a lot of people are sleeping on Jameis Winston. Then we got the Falcons at 8-9. Arthur Smith, solid head coach, but not the best situation. They don't have very good. They don't have a very good cap situation either. Matt Ryan, he's getting up there in age, but I think the Falcons will definitely compete this season. I don't have them making the playoffs like I do with the Bucs and Saints, but Atlanta is going to go 8-9. And then finally, Carolina 4-13. They're a team I could totally see getting better, maybe even knocking the door at the playoffs and whatnot if Sam Darnold has the Adam Gase effect, kind of the same way that Ryan Tannehill did, where you get away from him and all of a sudden, boom, you're good. I feel like that could happen. I feel like Matt Rule's a solid coach, but I mean, they got Christian McCaffrey. They got some good weapons. They got Robbie Anderson. They got DJ Moore. So, I mean, if Darnold can make the most out of that, the Panthers could definitely be good, but it's just kind of how the cards fell when I was picking games and whatnot. So, Carolina could very well be a good team. I have them being one of the worst in the NFC, though. To the East, the division where no team has won it back-to-back in 15 years, and that trend continues. I have the Cowboys with a relatively healthy Dak Prescott winning it at 10-7. The East is the East, though, so you're not going to really have great teams come out of there, really. But I like what Dallas is doing. Their offense was on fire last season before Prescott got hurt. And so I think if he can stay healthy, that Dallas could be at the very least solid and win this division. Behind them, I got the Redskins at 7-10. They got a really good defense, and I think they'll pull off some big upsets with Fitzpatrick under center. You know how hot and cold he can be. But ultimately, I think you're going to get a little bit more cold than you are hot. Obviously, it's going to be some inconsistent play. And I have Washington going 7-10. Then we got the Eagles at 5-12, even though they just traded for the GOAT Gardner Minshew. He's not going to be starting, at least early on. It's Jalen Hurts' job to lose, which it feels like Philadelphia wants him to lose the job. But either way, I think he could definitely be a serviceable quarterback. I don't think he's going to be bad, but I don't think he's in the best situation either. I'm not a big fan of their new coaching staff. And Philadelphia is going to continue to struggle at 5-12. And then finally, the New York Giants. I actually predicted this team to the playoffs last year, funny enough. I was pretty wrong on that. They went 6-10, and I think they're going to get worse. 4-13 is what I'm predicting here. I liked Joe Judge going into last year, but I don't know if I really believe in him. New England coaches just don't really succeed outside of New England, and I think that trend will continue now with Joe Judge and the Giants. Plus, I don't think Daniel Jones is that good either. And now finally in the NFC West, Matthew Stafford's new team, the LA Rams. I have them winning this division and nabbing the 1 seed at 14-3. I think the Rams are going to ball out this season. One of the most complete teams in all of football. You know, he can throw it to Cooper Kupp and all his other weapons and whatnot. He's got some solid running backs there. And that defense, though, having Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey is almost unfair. And the Rams are the Rams. I think they're going to be really good. Next up, we got the Niners. If they can stay healthy, I think they can easily make the playoffs again. I have them going 12-5 and getting the first wild card spot there. I think Jimmy G will play about the first half of the season, and then he'll get injured or something. I don't think he's going to get pulled for Trey Lance for like poor play. Jimmy G's a good quarterback. But I think once he inevitably gets hurt and Trey Lance gets out there on the field, it's going to be the Trey Lance show and no looking back there. And I think he will help lead them to the playoffs at a 12-5 record. And then nabbing the last seed there, Seattle. They've only missed the playoffs once in the Russell Wilson era, and that trend will continue. They're making it here with a 10-7 record, getting that last spot. You know, let Russ cook. He plays pretty good when he does that. And they got a decent team there. They've just paid Jamal Adams, who's an underrated player at this point with all the memes about him and whatnot. And then finally, Arizona is going to go 7-10, I predict. Kind of just the same over the last few years. Yeah, they got J.J. Watt and A.J. Green and all these guys who were good in 2015. I don't know. Cliff Kingsbury, I thought he was going to be a better coach than what he's done so far, but I guess not. So this is really a prove-it year for him, I feel like. Kyler Murray's a good quarterback. He's got good players on his team. You just got to put it all together. And so now, looking at the postseason, in the wild card round, you have the Colts at the Titans, and I'm going to be taking the Indianapolis Colts in a slight upset there. I'm not really going to explain my picks very much for these theoretical playoff games, which most of them are probably not even going to be correct matchups and whatnot, although I did predict Tampa Bay at Green Bay in the NFC Championship last year. I just picked the wrong team in that one. Next up, you have the Chargers at the Browns, both really good teams, but I'm going to take the Browns. I think they're going to be even better this year, like I was saying, and the Chargers maybe a little bit lack of experience, plus, you know, they're the Chargers. Chargers are going to do what the Chargers are going to do. The Browns are a quite complete team. I have them moving on. And then last in the AFC wild card, you have the Dolphins at the Bills, and I'm going to be taking Buffalo in that one. They split games with Miami earlier in the season is what I have them doing, and taking this one to the divisional round. In the NFC, another wild card team with a win. San Francisco is going to go to Dallas and get the dub behind quarterback Trey Lance. Next up, you have the Saints at the Packers, and I kind of wanted the Saints to win a playoff game, like if they were going to be going to Dallas or something. But going to Green Bay, you know it's going to be cold. They're a dome team and whatnot, all that stuff. I have Green Bay winning over the Saints in the wild card round. And then finally, Tampa Bay hosting Seattle, and I'm going to take the defending champions in that one. In the divisional round, I have the Buffalo Bills defeating the Cleveland Browns probably in a close one, but the Bills are just the better team. And then a pretty big upset in the other AFC game, Indianapolis at Kansas City, and I'm going to pick the Colts to win that one just to not be boring and pick the Chiefs. I really like Indianapolis's defense. I think they have potential to stop Patrick Mahomes, and like I said, I think the Colts defense is going to be, or offense is going to be good. I think the whole team is going to be good, especially if Carson Wentz can stay healthy. Then we have a rematch of last year's NFC Championship, and because I'm biased, I'm picking the Green Bay Packers to defeat the Buccaneers and move on to the NFC Championship to hopefully not lose a fourth one. And then we have the Rams and the Niners playing again, and I'm going to take the Rams to defeat San Francisco. Trey Lance is a rookie. I think he's going to do well as a rookie, but the Rams, I feel like, are maybe a little bit more of a complete team and, more experienced and whatnot in the postseason outside of Matthew Stafford, I guess. So I have them hosting the NFC Championship game. And in the AFC, I have the Buffalo Bills defeating the Indianapolis Colts. It's probably going to be a little bit of an underwhelming game. I feel like they may run over them. I have no idea. Who knows? This is a theoretical game. Buffalo's going to the Super Bowl for the first time in like 30 years. And then I got the Packers at the Rams. And you know what? I'm biased. I'll admit it. I know I am. And I have Green Bay defeating LA to now just stay in LA for 2 weeks, I guess, or whatever. I don't know what they do in that kind of a situation. And they're going to be playing the Bills in Super Bowl 56 in LA. And in that one, I'm going to take Green Bay to win. Aaron Rodgers, if it's his last game as a Packer, he might as well win a Super Bowl at that point. Maybe winning a Super Bowl will keep him around for a few more years. Who knows? But yes, my preseason Super Bowl prediction, Green Bay over Buffalo here. And, cross my fingers and hope. I got one last prediction, and that is my MVP. I've kind of gone back and forth, but, with the Rams getting the 1 seed, I think Matthew Stafford is in the best situation ever that he's had in his over 10 years now in the NFL. You know what? Give him the MVP. Let him have it, even though he's going to be one and done in the postseason again. Or actually, no. I haven't won in a playoff game. But either way, give him the MVP. I think he will excel. If not him, you got Patrick Mahomes, which is the obvious choice. Aaron Rodgers could win it again, but back-to-back MVPs, that's just kind of boring. Jameis Winston, honestly, I think is a sleeper for MVP, but being a wild card team, that's kind of tough to get the MVP. Carson Wentz is another one that went through my mind if he plays as good as I think he could, but again, a wild card team, and normally wild card teams don't have an MVP on their squad. Well, that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your predictions down below. And, if you think I'm an idiot, you probably do. But let me know your predictions down below. Who do you have winning the Super Bowl in February? Let me know. Leaving a like on the video is also very much appreciated. And until next time, this has been Jeffrey reminding you to stay moist.